at the CAFNR Showcase, and this is the nutrition and dietetics area of finesse.
Yeah, food science, nutrition, and exercise sciences.
All right, but I was so shocked when I saw that you had ears of corn out here. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking more of your finished food products, but our yellow dick corn, but we had some other things. Why don't you tell us what we're looking at here?
Okay, so basically I'm a food engineer, and I see things from the perspective of value addition economically. So most of the research we do is applied in nature. Now, coming back to your question about different corn varieties. So yellow dent corn is currently the major crop in the Midwest, and more than 90 million acres of farmland is actually dedicated for yellow dent corn cultivation, and 40% of it is utilized for conversion to corn ethanol. Now that ethanol ends up in gasoline tanks, and that's where the major problem or the future problem comes into play. With more and more electric vehicles set to displace conventional cars, we might have problem finding utilization for that amount of ethanol.
So 40% of our corn crop goes into ethanol.
Right.
And you're saying with the coming of the electric vehicles, we're going to displace a large part of our ethanol demand.
Because 10% of ethanol gets blended into gasoline.
Right.
So as the gasoline demand will go down, so too will the ethanol demand. And the questions then confront the growers and the processors is where will they find the market for that corn?
Right. Because I can attest that when we had an ethanol plant open here in central Missouri, the price of corn went up 25 cents, which is about 10% at the time. That was all profit.
Right.
If we lose that, we're going to be negative again.
Right. So again, the thing is, corn processing industry has been looking for value addition, but so far they have not been able to come up with any other value-added byproduct than ethanol.
Right.
So that's where we believe that some of the colored corn varieties, on account of very high concentrations of value-added polyphenolic compounds, can do value addition to the corn industry. So what I'm saying is actually some of these colored corn varieties, these are natural mutations, and they are native to the valleys of South America. They are not native to North America, but some of these corn varieties contain very high amount of polyphenolic compounds such as anthocyanins, flavonoids, flavonols, condensed tannins, which are not only anticarcinogenic, they are antioxidants, they have antimicrobial properties.
Because we hear a lot about that. We want antioxidants in our diet compared to this.
Right. Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So, blueberries, red wine is associated with health benefits.
Right.
Now, anthocyanins are the pigments which not only give red color to those fruits and berries, they actually are the anticarcinogens, and they contribute to the health promoting activities. Now, blueberries typically contain 1 to 1.5 grams of anthocyanins per kilogram of blueberries. And in case of purple corn, which looks like this corn we have quantified 5 grams of anthocyanins per kilogram of corn.
Versus 1.5 in blueberries.
Exactly. So it's 4 to 6 times higher than blueberries.
What's this have?
None. Because you don't see any pigmentation. I mean the red, blue, black, and that's the only part of the story. We during my doctoral work at University of Illinois, I was involved in a project funded by Kraft Food, where they were interested in finding out whether some of these color corns can be used to extract natural food colorant, which can displace potentially harmful red 40 dye, which is synthesized from petroleum.
Oh, wow. So our food colorings are from petroleum?
Yes, in the U.S.,
all
the food colorants are synthesized from petroleum, and many researchers have reported that these synthetic colorants may cause attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children. Azo dyes are actually reported to be neurotoxic, genotoxic in many studies.
Wow.
So in European Union, if you use these synthetic food colorants, you are required by law to put a label on your product. So many of these companies which market same products here in the U.S. and the Europe. They use natural alternates in Europe, but in here in the U.S. they use their synthetic counterparts, and that's where we believe some of the anthocyanin pigments economically extracted from these natural red corn varieties can economically displace the red 40 dye. Now again, think of blueberries. The raw material costs a lot, and if you need to extract the colorant, you have to macerate the whole material, do a solvent or water-based extraction, and the processing residue has little economic value. Now, as I mentioned, in this corn, the other advantage is most of the pigments are present in pericarp, which is actually
the outside
layer, and it's a waste for the food industry. So what you can actually do is, once you recover the pericarp at the front end, the corn endosperm remains available for utilization. And endosperm contains most of the starch and protein.
But it still has some of your anthocyanins.
What it means is during the milling process, many of the health promoting compounds end up in the endosperm fraction as well. So even if we make products out of the endosperm fraction, they will still contain health promoting compounds. So you're right. You're very right. Even the products made from endosperm coming from these colored varieties will have health promoting compounds. So if you make up breakfast grits or maybe flour to make Cheetos, or if you make muffins or other things from corn flour coming from these, they may still contain these health promoting compounds.
So we also have like high fructose syrup. That's a bad thing that we keep hearing about. Would these colored corns be better for us on that?
So again, the question is, when you talk about high fructose corn syrup, it has a history. So after Cuban Revolution, suddenly trade embargo was put on Cuba, and cane sugar couldn't come here. That's where scientists found a way to convert corn starch into high fructose corn syrup that displaced the cane sugar coming from. So it's sugar. I mean, any kind of sugar is harmful.
Whether it's corn or sugar cane, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can still eat sugar.
Yeah. So I think in that respect we might not, because sugar is sugar. It doesn't matter what source it comes from. So, but with these color corn varieties, I mean, one of the advantages going forward I see is you can find something to displace the low-value yellow dent corn, which will become an issue pretty soon for the farmers, the politicians, and the policymakers, because, again, the corn to ethanol process will not be sustainable with all the environmental issues coming into play and with the gasoline demand going down. So that's where we believe some of these corn varieties, if we can adapt them to the Midwestern climatic conditions, we can use them to economically recover these value-added compounds. And in the process, since the endosperm fraction also remains available, it gives a tremendous economic opportunity to utilize this.
So can we still use these in animal feeds, livestock, poultry?
Exactly. Because once you remove the pericarp at the front end, as I mentioned, the endosperm is unaffected. Okay. And you can selectively process the pericarp to extract the colorants and use them. So, and Ravinder is again working on this project. So I'm sorry, Ravinder, can you talk about some of the varieties which we are trying to adapt and what you have been doing with all those?
Yes. So thing is, there's a lot of varieties and there's a lot of variable colors in corn. If you see here, this is blue corn.
Yes.
This is reddish. So there are some varieties which are like native to some areas. To get them adapted here, we have to cross them with like different varieties and get them growing good and like higher in yield. So say there are some varieties like maize morado. If you grow it in Missouri, it will grow like this. But if you cross it with some other parent that is already present in Missouri, you can get this kind of corn, which you can use for various purposes. Yeah, you can still use these for say Cheetos or your corn cereal, or so the germ can be used for oil production from corn. But the pericarp, if removed, And if it is grown in Missouri, gives the advantage to the farmer, and the removed pericarp can be used to make food color. This is a natural color.
Yes.
Spray dried. You can use it in any food matrices for baking, for cooking, anything.
So now,
Yeah.
one thing about yellow, it gives us a lot of
Keratins. Yeah.
Vitamin A precursor. Would we all of a sudden start having issues with vitamin A if we switch?
So the thing is, what we have evaluated is, it has most of the compounds that are present already in it. The only thing is, it differs in color. So it is carotenoids.
Yes.
It is anthocyanins.
Oh, okay.
You might not get carotenoids in it, but you'll get more beneficial compounds.
Go ahead.
Can
Yes,
I
yes.
jump in? So the thing is, in many countries, especially the developing countries, nutrition is an issue.
Yes.
But in developed countries, I think the issue is overnutrition. For example, an average American eats 60% more protein daily than what is required.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say changing yellow dent corn with red might result in some kind of vitamin deficiency again, because Western diets are not deficient in those things.
Because I know I did a study on golden rice because it had more vitamin A in it because of that.
Right.
But that's different. That's a different.
But because in 1930s, the American government came up with food fortification policies.
Yes.
So milk gets fortified, rice gets fortified. So lack of vitamins, I don't see it a big issue.
Good.
And lastly, I mean, from an economic point of view, the question you might ask is, okay, we are proposing that we can grow color corn varieties and extract value-added chemicals. The next question is, how adapted are these varieties to the Midwest?
Yes.
Will we be able to get the yields which we are getting with the yellow dent corn? And that's actually the question we are tackling at this moment. So Dr. Sherry Flint Garcia's plant breeding group is actually adapting these varieties using conventional techniques. So we are not using
No GMOs.
no GMOs, that's for sure. So every year we use conventional techniques to adapt these varieties. Then the harvested corn comes to our lab. We process, we quantify the amount of phytochemicals, and then we get back to her. And based on our feedback, then she uses that seed stock for the next breeding cycle. So we are hopeful that in next few years we will be able to come up with varieties which are not only adapted to the Midwestern climatic condition and give decent yields, but they will also contain good amounts of phytochemicals, which will result in overall win-win situation for the farmers, for the food industry, for the consumers, and I see everyone can benefit.
And really, I can see where this is small and medium-sized farmers could really jump on this and get those markets developed for them.
Right.
That's a really
I
great.
mean, again, one question you may ask is natural food colorant market is relatively smaller one. So at some point, maybe it will get saturated. But again, anthocyanins are just one part of the story. These corns contain very high amounts of phenolic acids, flavonoids, condensed tannins, and all these phytochemicals are responsible for better health outcomes in humans. So it's not only the food colorants, we can also serve human food industry in a way that supplements can be made out of this corn. Then we are also, many of these secondary plant metabolites are synthesized as a plant defense mechanism against insects. And actually at University of Texas, we evaluated the water-based extract from these colorants and against pests, and actually these extracts can be used as natural pest deterrents. So
which is tremendous.
Yeah, there is a lot of potential. That's what I mean.
And your PhD research is on the.
In my master's, I evaluated 14 different varieties of corn which were grown in Missouri, and my PhD is going forward evaluating the benefits we can take from this.
Human benefits.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And how we can use it effectively in different food matrices, and how that stays after cooking.
Wow.
So that's what I'm going to study.
Staying after cooking is very important.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fortify it in the seed,
Yeah.
but if it doesn't show up in the food.
Yeah, if it doesn't end up in the last point, there's no point using it. So yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you all so much. This is so interesting and something that I don't think a lot of folks think about.
Thank you.